Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Jenn Baljko, founder of Always on My Way and creator of the Fierce Awakened Woman Online Summit. This is a virtual gathering of the brave and gentle-hearted who are following impulses for freedom, returning to the global village to share our unique gifts and inventing new ways forward for ourselves and for our communities. We are celebrating our dynamic feminine grace and activating our grounded masculine courage so we can all be fierce, fun, and fantastic. Allow yourself to drop into this session with an open heart, with an open mind. Feel into your sense of awareness. Tap into your inner strength and wisdom. And get ready to leap into your enlightened, embodied, and expressive self as we connect and learn from others who have sparked their own joy journey. As you settle in and begin to tune into what's present today, please join me in welcoming Jeralyn Glass. Let me tell you a little bit about this amazing woman. Jeralyn is an internationally known singer, professor, sound healing practitioner, crystal singing bowl master alchemist, and creator of the sacred science of sound. She has a unique presence with her personal alchemy of classical music, meditation, and high vibrational sound. She performed on Broadway and in national tours before establishing her singing career on the opera and concert stages of the world, especially in Europe, where she was known as a Mozart singer of the first order. Jeralyn also sang the national anthem for more than 18,000 people in her hometown of Los Angeles and has written and sung tributes to star athletes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the late Kobe Bryant, as well as the former German President Horst Köhler and former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. In 2015, Jeralyn's life changed completely when she lost her only child. In the process of transmuting her grief, she committed to sharing music and crystal alchemy meditation as a powerful tool of transformation, self-discovery, and healing. Jeralyn founded Crystal Cadence, a place for song and sound healing, home of the Crystal Tones Los Angeles Singing Bowl Temple, one of the largest displays of crystal alchemy singing bowls in the world. Jeralyn has become a leader in the field with her sacred science of sound events, which include the highly praised Crystal Alchemy sound healing trainings. She is active in the medical community, working with the cancer support community and Maria Shriver's Women's Alzheimer's movement in California. Jeralyn has performed her high vibrational music for Maria Shriver, Greg Braden, Dr. John Gray, Marianne Williamson, Dr. Sue Morter, Barbara Marks Hubbard, Lee Harris, Bruce Lipton, and Anita Morijani. Her 2020 online series, The Sacred Science of Sound, was an international success, and the first ongoing season runs January 30th through May 8th of this year, 2021. You can find her on her websites, jeralynglass.com, crystalcadence.com, and sacredsciencesound.com. Hi, Jeralyn.
Hello,
Whoa,
Jen.
that all gives me chills every time I see it and hear it and see you. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
How are you? How's it going? Good.
Good.
Ah, so tell me about your journey. How did you go? How did you know that music was the way that you wanted to share your gift?
Oh, I think I have a very distinct memory of being 4 years old and outside on our patio in the driveway and twirling, holding onto this post and twirling around and singing and feeling this sense of exhilaration and freedom and hearing a voice that said, this is what you're going to do. This is what your life path is going to be. 4-year-old, here's that. I didn't register what that was, but I remember that moment of just the feeling of just exhilaration, freedom, rootedness, just authenticity, perfection, all those things that you just felt so easy and so good. And indeed that's what's happened.
And it just appeared that way, just as a calling, and you knew to follow it in a snap.
When I was 11, I was in the choir in the 6th grade, and they gave me a solo. The choir director gave me a solo, and afterwards, everyone said to my parents, well, what are you going to do? She's talented. And so my mom took me to a neighbor who happened to be a very well-known singer and singing teacher. And she had worked for MGM. She had dubbed the voice of Ava Gardner in Showboat, and she did all the dubbing for Lucille Ball, and she had been on Broadway, and she was our neighbor. And so I started lessons with her at age 11. She had never taken anyone that young because at that time, there weren't TV shows like America's Got Talent and The Voice and all these things. So young kids, it wasn't popular like that. So she had never taken anyone that young, and I started with 30 minutes once a week, and then it quickly moved to 45, and then it quickly moved to twice a week. And she's still one of my mentors today. Today she is almost 99 years old, and if you hear her sing now, you'd never guess her age. So that was a gift that was very wise of my mom, and my mom had told me, she said, I'm gonna take you somewhere, and it may just change your life. I was like, yes, Mom, it did. So,
And that your mom knew to tap into this gift of yours too, right? Which is so intuitive.
my mom was a singer. So when she was little, she looked like Shirley Temple. So she had these little ringlets and big brown eyes, and my mom sang on the radio, and then she did little shows and tap dance. So she had that in her blood, but then she stopped about age 14. So yeah, we're very close. So
what's your favorite kind of music to sing? Are you still singing, or are you mostly concentrating on the bowls now?
oh no, I'm still singing. We just came out with an album last year in August that was in Grammy consideration. I was very excited. What I'm doing now is I think it's integrating or synthesizing everything that I've spent my life doing, which began as a young singer at age 19 on Broadway. So when I trained with my teacher, Annette, she gave me a very wide background. So I worked on Italian songs, and then German and French lieder, and then opera arias, and then musical theater and jazz and pop songs. So she gave me a really wide, broad education. And I think now, having been on Broadway, having done concerts all over the world and been on the opera stages and, done all different kinds of music. I mean, my voice is definitely not a pop singer, but we created this album called Vibrance, which is an integration of Crystal Alchemy singing bowls, spoken meditation, and music songs that you know. So one of the main songs is John Lennon's Imagine, and that was this vision that we had for 2020 was imagining this classical sound with spoken meditation and with these incredible Crystal Alchemy singing bowls. So that was that album, and so I'm still singing, and obviously now in the pandemic time there's not any live things, but we're in the studio, and music is something. I mean, when I look at Annette, who's, as I said, almost 99, and she'll sing for me, it's just like, as long as you can stay healthy and you have your flow of your energy in your system, you can sing until you close your eyes. And she, for me, is such a living example, and she always talks about, you don't want anyone to close their eyes for the final time without having sung their song, and whatever that means for each of us. It's so important that we get to express our personal vibration, our authenticity, the things that make us unique. And I'll always compare that like to the Crystal Alchemy singing bowls now, that each one is different. They're like sonic tools of art. And just like us, they have their own thumbprint. And, each of us has our own unique gifts. And it's so important to, like what you're doing with your summit now, to really share that and share that inspiration for people all around the world, that people get like motivated and inspired and confident, like, okay, I can follow this, I can follow that. When I saw your title, I thought of this quote that was so important to me as a young singer, and from Goethe, that says, anything you can do or dream that you can do, begin it, because boldness has fierceness, power, and magic in it, something like that, right? And that was something I always had near me, that this quote, like, Jeralyn, just trust, like, you're motivated for the, trust it, take that step, and my parents always really supported that. And I think to have that ability first to get to know who you are, what makes you really authentic, what your gifts are, and then to have the courage and confidence to step forward and try, and your path may go, like, who would ever have thought as a young singer on Broadway, that I would have gone into classical music and become an opera singer and sung all over the world, and then now, who would have ever thought I became a professor, that I would be playing these Crystal Alchemy singing bowls and playing healing music. I never could have conceived that. But when you trust in your authentic flow and you listen to the wisdom, as I shared, as this 4-year-old, like hearing this, oh, okay, got it, that's what you're going to be, okay, great. When you can hear and act on that and trust in that makes a life that's fulfilled. Perhaps it's not the way we thought it was going to go, or it's not, it didn't fit in our perfect picture of this or that, of what we dreamed of for our lives, but it's a life that's fulfilling. It's a life that's exciting and beautiful.
Well, and one of the things I love that you said, and it's come back into my space actually, just this morning with another speaker who's going to be on the summit, Daniel Barber, something popped into my inbox today, and there was a conversation he was having with Cater Brown, another great energy healing leader, and they were talking about this, like, that your calling comes out as a song, right? And it's longing for you, and it wants you to follow it the same way that you want to follow it. And I thought, oh, this is just beautiful, because I really do want to learn how to listen to my own soul song, right? I don't know what that sounds like, right? And I've tried it a few times, and I've recorded like gibberish singing, but I don't know how do you find your soul song? Like, how do you know that you're listening to that so deeply that it comes out with some music around it?
That's such a good question. And I created, in the Sacred Science of Sound trainings, I created an exercise around that, because what I began to discover for myself was using the Crystal Alchemy singing bowls. They help to create a container. So just like any sort of music, and when I share, like, I'm thinking about a chaplain who is going to be on our season in March, who uses songs for people in the hospital, and if people are passing, and for their families, and that a song can create a container. So the Crystal Alchemy singing bowls can create a container that is safe, right? And you begin to drop in. So in terms of the alchemy bowls, which I call sacred sounds, they give the mind, music will give the mind something to focus on. And then the mind is quiet, the mind begins to still, because it's always busy all the time, telling us this, that, and the other. What's my soul song? What do you think it sounds like? Oh, should I try this? Should I do that? No,
that doesn't sound right either.
You hold space with, in this case, the alchemy bowls. There's no words to that, and it creates this safe container where you can drop in and you begin to and it may turn into words, it may turn into whatever, but it's having a little tool like that to just practice what are the sounds I want to make? And so many people think, oh my gosh, I can't sing. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with our own personal vibration. And if we go for a moment into quantum science, and that everything is energy, everything's made of energy. The planets, the stars, our earth, it just everything is vibrating, right? And that gets compressed into human form, and we become we are these vibratory beings. And when we don't feel well, something's out of harmony. So something, the liver or the heart, is not vibrating in a harmonic, like an orchestra, right? And so we need to tune the body. And so as you allow all different kinds of vibrations to come through without just thinking and planning, oh, my soul song is this, you're just amazed at what you begin to explore. And I think that's the magic, is our souls are they're so rich and multidimensional and just filled with unlimited possibilities, Jen. And we kind of want to live in this box. And I think in part, like the pandemic has taught us that, hey, things are being changed up, and we can either root down and be open to be a part of that and be absolutely present and see what is revealing, or we can just try to hold on. I want life to be the way it was. And it's shifted, and it's continuing to shift. And I think when we can find that space, and we can find that those sparks of impulse, those sparks where we connect to something much bigger than this human form, where information can be shared and we can act upon it, and we feel joy and we get inspired, that's where transformation and healing happens. And for me, the crystalline vibrations are so much a part of holding that space to to try to make sounds that perhaps in your normal life you wouldn't make, right? And you begin to free up vibrations inside you that suddenly you're not triggered by this or that. You feel more calm. You've had a better night's sleep. So this power of using our human instrument to find, as you said, this vibration, this soul song that truly is ours. And I think that's coming back to what Annette said too. I don't want anyone to leave the planet without having sung their song. It's all about that. You want to feel that you have expressed yourself to the best of your ability, in integrity, with love, with grace, whatever the things are that are for you, that surround for you, with power, whatever feels good to each of us. And that, in my vision, makes a harmony, and it feels like we are awakening now to, what does it mean to play in an orchestra together, whether I'm, living here in the United States, or I'm living in Singapore, or I'm living in Bali, or I'm living in France, or it doesn't matter. What's my particular vibration? What do I resonate, and how do I tune with humanity? How do I tune with this orchestra that I think we are beginning to create, that's a higher vibrational frequency, that's based more in compassion and kindness and love. It's time.
It is time. It is time for us to remember that, right? It keeps coming up over and over again in the speaker conversations, right? It's time. It's time for us to remember, who are we? Where are we going? What are we doing? How do we use body, mind, and spirit to really keep us moving in this elevated way of life, right? It's really powerful. And what I'm really curious about too, and you mentioned this, our body as an instrument, right? Our body as a whole thing that we can use to express ourselves in this form that we're in. I'm wondering if there's vibrations for each of the organs. You had me thinking when you said that, like, could we create a soul song for our liver if we're feeling a bit heavy there? Like, does your organs have, and I say this because the other day we did a meditation and I could actually feel like that my liver had a different pulse than my heart. Like, I felt like there was a different flutter there. And I thought,
absolutely. And this is part of the sacred science of sound, is, studying what notes affect what parts of our body, what tunings. Am I playing bowls that are 440 hertz, which is music today? Am I playing bowls that are 432 hertz tuning, which is music of the Baroque time, very earth connected and soothing for the brain? Am I playing a tuning that's 528 hertz? That's a higher frequency that's connecting us more to love and DNA repair, and then what alchemies am I using? So, ask me, is there a certain alchemy that would, correspond to the liver? The first thing that comes to mind is, what about citrine? Citrine is the color of the solar plexus, so it's the color of the middle of the body, and this is what I'm exploring with the sacred science of sound. This is what fascinates me, because the alchemy bowls work on so many different levels. It's note, it's tuning, it's size, it's alchemy, and then it's what's individual for each of us. So Jen, what would fit, as something feeling very harmonic for your liver might not for me. There is definitely no one size fits all. And this is the whole point, back to what you're doing and creating this summit, and finding your soul song, what resonates for you, what's true for you, and for goodness sake, it doesn't have to be like your best friend, and hopefully it's not, that you harmonize and you resonate together, and you've got that individual spark that's really uniquely yours.
Yeah, and I've listened to some of your things, and they always just tingle. Like, they cause this really tingling sensation sometimes for me, and it's like, wow, this is so. Wish I could have you in my living room every day.
Yeah, via YouTube.
I can with the YouTube videos, but how do you choose? So the bowls each have their own sound and resonance and bring into that whole music. So there's a whole, and when you talk about alchemy, how do you apply it to music? Because I find it, I love the idea of alchemy, and turning ourselves from lead into gold, and all of that search. How do you do it musically?
That's such an interesting question too. So I'm just thinking about, like, for example, I mean, obviously, you don't have every single alchemy and every single note, but I'm thinking of when I was working on Imagine, and putting that song together for the album Vibrance, and it was rooted with a big bowl that was made of palladium, and palladium is a metal that has to do with joy, childlike wonder, innocence, playfulness. And I kept, we made a video to go with it, and there's all these images of children all around the world. So that alchemy is in the song, as is frankincense, because frankincense is also it's a very spiritual element that can be used by many, that is used by many different cultures, right? So there's a frankincense bowl in there. There's an apophyllite bowl in there. An apophyllite is the stone of sacred geometry. It's used by many Reiki masters. So there's pink tourmaline in there, which is, pink tourmaline is, of course, for the heart, but it's about compassion and love for humanity. So there is a lot of thought that goes into what I'm playing and what I choose, and the intention, because it's truly, as you know in your life, like, when you set an intention and then it's aligned, and in this case with music, when I set an intention and I combine it with frequency, that makes a huge transformation. It has big ripple effect. It has big ramifications when I'm aligned with intention, frequency, alchemy, and put that in music, which is constantly amplifying and expanding. And whether I'm working with a couple of singers that are well-known pop musicians, and whether it's, you can really hear the bowls in the music, or whether the bowls are in the background, they're holding a space. They hold a space and a certain frequency, and I always come back to that is love. And I see it in my students again and again, that there's a sense that the universal energy that is the coherence that holds us together is love. And there was a quote that I loved when I was a student at the university that was, music is love in search of a word. And that just, struck me so much, like, yeah, like you don't say it, but you just you sing it or you listen to it, and it's this beautiful, pristine, exquisite vibration that awakens love in us.
I love that. Love, music is love looking for a word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let that sink in for a second. That, when you thinking of your soul song and your footprint here with musical tones, right?
You
You
know,
don't need the words. It's just the sound that resonates, right?
and I always felt that about music, like being an opera singer for many years in Europe, and you have to use your body. I mean, your body is your instrument. You have to be able to project it in a 3,000 seat theater over a 120 piece orchestra, and you're not mic'd, right? So you learn and you train, as my teacher did from the time I was 11. You train your body to be this vessel, to be this vehicle that sound can flow through, and without effort, because you got the two little vocal cords, and it's got to vibrate, and it's got to travel, to the back of the theater, right? And I don't know. There's just so much in that sound vibration and in using your own voice. But as I got into working with the bowls too, and I began to just be able to play and create meditations for people, and it started for me with the loss of my own child, my only child, almost 6 years ago now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he knew the bowls. He loved the bowls. He had played with them since he was 8, and they were part of our family's lives. So that whole connection with him through the sound is that the bowls became my healing modality, right? And just as I described being on the driveway at 4 and hearing what I heard, I began, after he passed away, and the night he passed away, I began to hear him. And so, being that sound has always been my language, what I really began to understand, as a singer, you feel your body vibrating with this vibration of love, but as you put an intention with it, and as you use the crystalline sounds, which are so pure and exquisite, whether we tone with them or just receive them, what I've really come to experience is, like when I'm working with cancer patients, I began to really feel, my goodness, when all is said and done, we are holding together in this space of sacredness that is love. And it was like, they recognized it, I recognized it, and the more that my work with the bowls has grown, and the more I am healing, however you want to name that, with the grief, and coming to have a bigger perspective of why my boy had to pass so young, and why that's part of my life story, and how do I transmute that. The sacred sounds have been the stability that gives me space to feel, to breathe, and go in the places where you go, I'd just rather stay in bed, right? Or you just, you want to turn to whatever you want to turn to just dull the pain, right? Or numb it out. But the sound is, it's just something that gives us a stability. As your summit, it helps to make me fierce. It helps to make me anchored and trusting, and able to go into places in my story that are really uncomfortable and really icky, just and transmute them. And that's been, when I look in my eyes and I see this light in there, it's like I never could have imagined, after losing my boy, that I could ever feel that again. I mean, you say, okay, in time things will heal, but for a parent, that's, your future is gone, right? And yet I've come to learn my future isn't gone. It's together with him through sound vibration, and we get to touch a whole bunch of people all around the world together. Like, sound vibration and love, how intermingled those are, as we're talking about, and how it's eternal. There's no beginning and there's no end, Jen. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. In the beginning was the sound. The sound vibration created the universe. The sound is God. The sound is Om. However you want to view that, in whatever culture you come from, there is no beginning and there's no end for me to both sound vibration and the vibration of love, because they're one for me.
Jeralyn, you make my heart leap, really. And I cannot possibly imagine what it feels like to be a mother who lost a child at such a young age. And then to have the power and the fierceness and the courage to stare that down in the face and say, yeah, my future is all one. And it's not an easy, right? It's 6 years and there's still loss and grief. But to show up in your own life and to give this gift to people in this way, I don't know, like it is the one of the most powerful sounds I've heard in my own experience, right? To listen to your bats and crystal bowls and to feel you and Dylan like coming through that, like there's just such a vibration to it that's hard to hear in other places. But I'm curious about the state of the world right now, right? As we're moving through grief and loss and big change. And have you started to see people want more music in their life, right? Are they trying to get out of this grief and loss through music? And I know for me last year, I dance like, I have no rhythm, but I have no problem being the first one up in a Zoom room to do a dance party or dance in my living room, right? This has given me such joy in 2020 to reconnect to that of just free form movement and doing air guitar while I'm cutting carrots, for a minute, just breaking out to some sort of song and dance just to bring a bit more levity, brevity and levity and joy to life, right? Because it's so heavy right now. You're in confinement one week, out of confinement one week. Are you seeing more people come and say, yeah, let me just sit in this quiet place with music?
It's like I said, I celebrated my birthday in December, and it was
Happy
sort of
birthday.
like, well, there's no party and there's nowhere to go but in. There's nowhere to go but in. I mean, I think this time again has given us time and space for many of us to do the things and work with the things that we could easily have avoided, right? To just go in deeper. And yes, I do. I see all over that people are turning to um, their form of meditation, whether it just be listening to songs that they really love, or whether it be listening to crystal bowls that they never listened to before. And wow, there's feeling, someone told me yesterday, she's a well-known therapist, and she said she had a 15-year-old girl and she played one of her bowls, and the girl was like, I'm tingling, I'm tingling all over this feel. Oh, this is so beautiful. This is, so it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter your life situation, but yes, I am seeing that music is that universal language, and that's something I've known since I'm a little girl. Music is that language of the heart, and it's the language that connects us beyond everything. Beyond everything. You don't, when I moved to Europe and I didn't, I was living in Germany and I didn't speak German. All I could say was kindergarten and beer, and Guten Tag. And as I
Important
began to
words.
learn the language, you must know that in Spain. So maybe you speak Spanish, but you begin to see there's so many ways to communicate, and yet music is that. It's a vibration. It's what we all understand. So most definitely, and I think it's elevated, the kind of music that people are listening to. Like I'll talk about with many colleagues that are doing all different kinds of music. Like we just made, for example, we created a 2 hour loop. So there hadn't been a loop of Crystal Alchemy singing bowls. There's a loop of plain quartz bowls, but 2 hours so that people can just have that in the background. They can cook. I have friends and colleagues and students whose children or grandchildren, they send me little videos of them doing their homework, and they've got the Tune Up Tuesdays, which are on the YouTube channel Crystal Cadence, and they're free, where the loop is located now too. They just put it on the screen and their kids do the homework. They're cooking, they're taking a bubble bath, whatever kinds of things, wherever you'd have music accompany you in your life. The idea of using high frequency, high vibrational music as an accompaniment, as a background, so that you're being uplifted while you're doing tasks and chores of your daily life is that's happening more and more for people.
Well, I'm glad to hear that the 2 hour loop is there on the Tune Up Tuesdays now, because sometimes I think I just need a 2 hour, like that amount of time, 2 or 3 hours, a half day on a Saturday or Sunday, and just if I'm home anyway, just be in this space, right?
It's chilling, you ask us again about the pandemic. I mean, I think it's giving us a chance to chill, to really come home in a way that when all our other things were in place, we couldn't, right? And it's lasted a long time. I see, like, for example, in my mom, who, was very, very social and had all her events and things that she loved to do in her bridge and just, everything that made a life for an elderly person really fulfilling, right? And I see, how she's adjusted and, gets on Zoom calls and, of course it's not the same, but it's important. And when life gives us this situation, how are we going to deal with it? Like at the beginning, I was like, well, I can't teach online. The bowls can't translate online. It doesn't work. And then it was like March, April, May. Well,
June.
what are you going to do? And, it's all translated wonderfully, and the technology has developed. So there's better sound for music coming online. And we're doing the Sacred Science of Sound season, which began the end of January. But the idea was that, hey, we can't be together in a concert hall. We can't be together at an event. But let's bring as much as we can of this live atmosphere to share music, because for so many people, going to the theater or going to lectures or concerts, that's part of our lives, the arts, and we can't do it in the same way. So that was the idea, to bring people together in conversation and experience and music, and offer the best quality we could online. It's we have to reinvent, Jen. We have to. I mean, we are.
We are. We are. And it will be what it will be, right? Like we have to get through 2021 and we'll see what happens. But I think it is what just keeps coming back and present for me on this is that, yeah, it is time. It's time to return to your village, like whatever that is, that's your family, your community, yourself, the people in your life, and just keep pulling out that stamina and resilience. And it's always here, you just have to find it, right? So now it's finding the tools. It's soul song, it's meditation, it's crystal bowls, it's coloring, it's going for a walk and listening to the birds, right? If you can, right? It's sort of simple things.
It's what you asked me earlier about if my liver has a tuning, right? And if I come inside and say, let me really create a conscious harmony within every cell of my body, that creates wholeness. That creates a kind of health that I would say, me included, before the pandemic, you still looked to outside things, outside things to tell you, to guide you. And I think for me, it's really been about, and many people I know and musicians, really coming into that place of creativity and home, as you said, and back to when I find my soul song or pieces of my soul song. And, it's a life process to sing your soul song. But, as I come to more of these pieces and I come into an integration and I'm whole from the inside, I'm not looking for my social media or my fashion or my whatever to make me complete. That's a whole nother sense of life. It's a whole nother sense of authenticity that, once again, we have all these beautiful, instruments, and every single one of us is different. And yet we can tune together and resonate with one another and be in harmony and create even beyond what we might have thought was possible before. And it's this really coming home, which is, I think, available. You think about young students that are not able to be in school or haven't been able to be in school with friends, and how does all that social growth and interaction really work? And I think a lot of people are doing a really good job with it. We have to accept and embrace it and bring the most light and the most love and the most energy we can, in this way, like with things that you're doing.
Well, and it's funny because when I was thinking of all these sort of like warrior words came in, right? Courage and fierce, right? And I do see them as masculine words, and I want to help redefine that because I think, fierceness shows up in a lot of different ways. And in one of the conversations with Christoph the other day, who's speaking here, he was saying, when you used to draw your sword and cut through everything that's in front of you, that was fierce. And he said, what happens when you leave your sword in and you can still show up with that and know that you don't have to draw your sword? And I thought, yeah, that's the kind of fierce that I want now, right? I don't need to be defensive and ready to fight. I need to be able to keep the sword in, come home to myself and say, there's another way, right? There's another way forward. There's a creative way. There's a love way. There's a light way. There's another way. And we're inventing it. We're all inventing it now. So
Because we're really all in this together. It's the whole world. It's not just one area. It's everybody, right? And that's the whole thing when I think about Imagine, and having no idea January 1st of 2020 that anything of like this was going to unfold. But John Lennon had that. It's incredible. What if we all were holding hands? We're all in this together. We truly are. And what one country does or one area does with climate or whatever it is, it affects everything. Just like the human body, when the liver is out of balance, it's going to affect the rest of the system. Or the singing bowls that I chose for today are the notes based on the endocrine system. So it's like, if your thymus gland is a little bit off, well, of course it's going to affect your thyroid gland. So we're all, all of this is interconnected. And it's
you jumped ahead. I was noticing some of the bowls that you have, and I was going to ask which ones did you pick today? Because I know you always pick different bowls for different vibrate. Like you said before, there's a different vibration for love and for all. You mentioned all the different frequencies, but which ones did you pick today?
Would you like me to go to the table? Would you like me to share?
I would love for you to share. I would love for you to do that.
Then I can show you.
And what I'll do is I'm going to give you the full screen now so we can see this up close. And if you haven't heard Geralyn's sound bath yet, settle in.
So, not to get too into the science and everything behind it, but this is an endocrine set, meaning that it's based on the 5 black notes on the piano: C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. And so there's all different variations of those notes on the table here. It's going to be working with balancing your body's chemistry. So the main bowl in this set is this one, which is our low C sharp. And that is ruby. And ruby of course is the color of the root chakra, but ruby is also what we call quantum and atomic transformation. Ruby is a great stone of nobility, and the bowls are made of pure quartz, but they're infused with gemstones, precious metals, minerals, and earth substances, and those are going to get amplified. So as I'm playing this ruby bowl, the elements, the energetic of ruby will be amplified. And yeah, at first I thought, oh my goodness, this is a little bit woo-woo for Professor Jeralyn, but it's I've come to learn it's really, really not. It's incredible. So this one is a really interesting bowl. This is at the thymus gland. This is the F sharp. This bowl was broken. So this bowl is what we call a morph. So it was broken. I was traveling with it on an airplane, and before I could, it was up in the overhead bin, and before I could say anything, the stewardess moved the case over and slammed it shut, and the hinge went right on the case. So the bowl broke, but it was able to be repaired. And the sound of the morphs, what we call, is for me also energetically, it's like when this was the first bowl that was broken, and this is a big heart bowl, and rhodochrosite is the stone of the heart. So for me, this bowl was symbolically about me, myself, entering this process of grief and how I was beginning to knit my heart back together. And if the morph can be repaired, it's incredible, the sound. So that goes beautifully with the big ruby. So in any case, there's rose quartz, which is also for the heart. There's morganite. There's iron. There's Lemurian seed crystal. There's something called Saint Germain. This is a very special bowl that was made for my son, in honor of my son. This is a heart bowl. So, and this is Saint Germain sky, and Saint Germain is about transmutation and transformation. It's made with pink aura gold and platinum. I could just talk forever. So
this is beautiful
to hear the sets. This is a divine bowl which has 6 alchemies, divine feng shui. This is a beautiful bowl. This is a divine cryon. For those of you who know the teachings of cryon, this is a bowl that was made for cryon. This big beautiful one is a charcoal, and charcoal filled with aqua aura gold. So charcoal is very cleansing, clearing, and detoxifying. The divine feng shui brings balance and harmony, as we were talking about, to ourselves and to our home, which is so important right now. This little one is Labradorite, and Labradorite is helping us to open to our psychic abilities. So what I was sharing about in the beginning of that is this little girl, swirling around on her driveway and just hearing, okay, this feels so great, and you're going to be singing. This is what it's about. Labradorite has the energetic of opening our third eye, our crown chakra, our psychic abilities, and that bowl is mixed with white light angel gold. So it's a real beautiful connection to unlimited possibilities. This one is a zestulite. A zestulite is what we call the I am presence. This one has selenite in it. So selenite is grounded white light. Selenite is really helping us to connect to the bigger picture, connect to this, who are we in terms of our bigger, as you were saying, Jen, like our soulful self. Selenite has this connection as heaven earth is how I experience it. So I could talk for a long time about the bowls, but I'd love to give you an experience. And this is a brand new Saint Germain Triangle or pyramid. It's got a very unique sound, really, really unique sound. And you can fool with, using those yourself for your own personal sound healing. So I'd say, let's set an intention together to just receive all the healing that Jen has put into gathering this beautiful group of people, and to know that as we become inspired and as we learn so many new things as part of the series, that this set will really be working to balance our body's chemistry to help bring harmony, and all the alchemies are working on big heart opening and heart connection, rooting of the heart, transformation, transmutation, cleansing and clearing, opening to the bigger version of ourselves. And I think, and there's some iron in this little one. This is what we call grandfather. So bringing in all this male energy of fierceness that you were talking about, but surrounded by all this incredible softness but strength. So I'll ask all of you, if you'd like to just close your eyes and take some long, deep cleansing breaths, and we'll begin. Breath coming deep in your belly. You can put a hand below your navel and just feel. You can breathe in through your nose, which helps it to be deeper. And sigh out with an ah. So, and as you sigh out, just simply allow anything to release that doesn't feel like it's in harmony, it's not serving you. And we'll begin by these long, deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth with a sigh. Just beginning to let go the cares or the concerns, anything that you might have been holding Perhaps there's a tension that has been held there. Perhaps there is simply a message. Tune in and listen. Allow the vibrational frequency of your body and that area of your body to reveal. There is so much wisdom inside us. We simply need to turn the focus and breathe deep in our bodies, turning the focus inward. And thanking that body part for its message. And I invite you to gently hum with me if you feel comfortable. Any tone that feels good to you, medium or low or higher, whatever feels good to you. See if you can allow that hum to come from deep inside you, as if you yourself were a sounding bowl, and I gave you a gentle tap, a gentle, tender love tap. I invite you to hum. And as you hum and find a very personal vibration, allow that to strengthen you. Feel the joy and the pleasure from feeling your own hum. And if you're simply sitting in silence, feel the power of that too. As we are truly made of energy, we are sound, vibration, and light. And in your sound, so much is possible from that personal vibration. And sending an affirmation to your body as you hum. I am whole. I am radiant. I am at peace. Whatever it may be. And feel that affirmation, very personal to you. Feel that begin to anchor in your body as these sacred sound vibrations hold that upliftment in your system. Gently rolling your eyes upwards for a moment and allowing your eyes to roll back downwards. Feeling your shoulders roll back and stretch open. Feeling your feet connect to the earth. Feeling the fire, the power of 1,000 suns in your belly. And gently stretching and yawning. I invite you to rub the palms of your hands together, generating heat. And then gently begin to caress your scalp. Tenderly touch your face, and then begin to tap your body. Just tapping and patting as you gently wake yourself back up. Your belly, your hips. Awakened, refreshed, and renewed in a new vibrational frequency. Thank you, Jen, for allowing me to share this sacred sound with your community.
Jeralyn, thank you so very much. Thank you doesn't even seem the right word at this moment. Seems like it should be thousands more of that. Gratitude. What a great way for us to step into whatever is possible next for all of us. Oh, I could probably stay here forever with you in this very sacred space. There's still the vibration of the sound coming through and letting it kind of following the sound to the end there. But Jeralyn, just remind people where they can find you. And I know I think you have a free gift for us. But where can we find you, and where can we find what you're doing next? Just remind us.
So crystalcadence.com is the place for sound healing, the sound healing temple, and mentoring, and all the offerings and your bowls, if you're interested in bowls. And the Sacred Science Sound, sacredsciencesound.com, is also an educational platform for the bringing together of energy medicine, sound vibration, and the healing power of music, whether we offer our online events or now this first time that we're offering a season, as I mentioned, to be together in community as if we were in the concert halls together. There's also a Crystal Alchemy singing bowl training, That is a 4-day intensive. If you're interested in that, as you can see, it's truly my passion. It's changed my life and so many of the lives around me. Um, if you're on social media, Instagram, Crystal Cadence LA. There's also something on Insight Timer, a beautiful 10-day chakra meditation if you belong to Insight Timer. We're just preparing a second class. Um, what else? The Crystal Cadence YouTube channel. There's lots and lots of free content. It's my deepest wish that everybody can have access to healing sound. And as I shared about the loop, that it's something you can just integrate in your life and you simply notice this doesn't trigger me anymore. I feel better about this. I just feel lighter, whatever it may be. Um, yeah. So
Thank you, Jeralyn. And I'm making a mental note. Okay, go back in the 2 hour loop, the sacred science of sound. That goes until May 8th, right? That's
yes, that goes until May 8th, and there's been some great programs, and the next one coming up it's called the Rhythm of Wholeness. We're going to have one with a tuning fork master and a pop musician that's integrating 432 hertz into his music, and a gong master. So it's all different kinds of experiences. And after my son passed away, and we created together this sacred science of sound, he's like, Mom, first of all, put your seatbelt on. I was like, okay, okay. Second of all, we want to bring together cross cultures, cross generations, and really help people to know that there is this connection. And quantum science has proven it, but there is this connection between sound vibration, our hearts and our minds, this heart-mind coherence that music helps to bring. And that irregardless of where we are and how old we are and what our preferences are and who we voted for and any of that stuff, we can connect through sound. And so my Dylan was very very strong about that, Mom. So there's concerts by young people and doctors that speak on it, and yeah, so that will continue. The educational platform will continue, and to make available to people what is the latest cutting edge information in the use of sound as a medicine. Because as we were talking earlier, I think especially in this time of the pandemic, you don't necessarily want to reach for a pill unless you have to. And it's nice to have a nice glass of champagne or a cocktail, but you don't want to have to do that every day either, right? And so sound can be the balsam that just really soothes out the rough edges, helps to take away the frustrations, helps to calm an anxious mind, and keep us grounded, keep us centered. So
it certainly has always and continues to make my body ripple. It's like this. It does feels like a heart space opening. So
thank you so much for all you've created, Jen, and for
yeah, thank
including
you,
me in this.
Jeralyn.
Oh, what a
Thank you. It's
wonderful.
been so wonderful. Thank you for saying yes.